whether it's teachers, whether it's in other staff of the school. So what are some of the concerns that you see?
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon to all of you. As an educator, I feel that the major concern with all of us face is teachers' well-being. And I personally feel that a happy teacher will always raise happy children or happy learners. So a huge concern is, as doctors, no offense, they do have a degree of DR, but why not a teacher uses a TR, which is equally valuable and they are at a pedestal. So coming from the education industry, I feel one of the major concerns is high workload and burnout of teachers. The entire system is towards students' well-being. How can a child be happy? The policies are towards students. But what about teachers? What about teachers' well-being? Emotion, stress and mental health situation. How does a teacher try to balance all these things, creating a work-life balance? Unfortunately, it's inadequate recognition too. Like teachers probably are, yes, they are warriors, but they're not being given that much of importance and recognition. Like I remember there was a time where I hope all my colleagues here will second with me. They will say that, okay, what do you want to become? If you can't do anything, be a teacher. Why? It's not right. It's probably not like, it takes a special heart to be an educator. And the last concern which I feel is lack of professional support and how to make or create a work-life balance. So coming from a teacher's or an education lens, I feel that these are something which are like burning issues which probably you and me, all of us here in this room are facing day in and day out.
Thank you, Shannon, for highlighting 3-4 important aspects of what children and teachers go through. Now, over to you, Gino. Please take us through your experiences.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me. I primarily work with children and teachers. So one, of course, the biggest thing about mental health as a school practitioner, what we do is right from the beginning, when the children come to us, I don't know how many of you have heard of circle time. Circle time is a practice in school that we make sure it's done. And with a very little activity, what we do is emotional roll call, where the child is actually given the vocabulary to differentiate. He's sad, he's happy, he's disappointed, he's angry. The very fact that the child gets that vocabulary, at least he's able to differentiate. He's okay, he's not okay, right? When there is a feeling of sadness that the teacher hears, the teacher also makes an effort to go and find out what's making you sad. So that is the key practice in school that we do from where I come from. Apart from that, to build awareness in mental health, because there's a mental health week, what we realized over the years that mental health issues in children in school are growing really very fast. So as a school counselor, we have an open window where the children can actually come, write a note and say, I would like to seek an appointment and speak to you about very urgent issue. So that openness and that window is definitely there in the school. Apart from that, there's a lot of awareness that we do in school, especially through assemblies and well-being classes. So well-being classes are nothing basically where we go to the classrooms. We talk about issues from bullying, cyber safety, adolescence, changes in the adolescence. We also talk about how depression impacts, what is depression, to the fact that when a child comes to us for counseling and we see that there is a success in the way he's managed himself, to taking up that child to the assembly and talking about and breaking that stigma of mental health. So these are some of the practices. If we do it at school level, definitely the stigma about mental health can be taken, under consideration. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Jimmy, for sharing some of the practices still have got food for thought. So over to you, Dr. Prerna Sharma. Thank you, Sridhar.
So I've been listening to Shonan and Jeetu, and I would like to kind of speak about how teachers can deal with the stress that they go through because of overloading, overwork, not enough recognition. And most important thing teachers do, and I don't think anybody ever acknowledges the fact that they are building the nation. They have the future of the nation in their hands, and that is a responsibility, a task which is so very important for the nation. Do we even ever think about it? I think very few of us do. Maybe on Teachers' Day, every September 5th, some of us will think of our teachers, if they are still around, greet them, thank them, and that's it. One day a year. But teachers are doing this job day in, day out, building the future of the nation. So I would like to kind of suggest to the teachers what they are doing is so very important. If nobody is acknowledging or maybe even mention it to yourself. What I am doing is one of the most important tasks. Tomorrow I am building. Future I am building. The teacher needs to remind himself every morning, first thing they get up, and every night before they go to bed. That will keep their morale high. That's fine. The second thing I think very important is controlled emotional involvement. Many teachers I've seen are very sincere and hence very involved with their work, very involved with the learners, the students. And it's actually good for the learners, for the nation, but it takes a heavy toll on them as individuals, as people, as persons. So controlled emotional involvement can be inculcated and practiced by teachers where they kind of inculcate within their own self this way of working where I'm doing this for the nation, for the learner. This is my responsibility. I'm doing it to the best of my capacity. However, after a certain point, I will let things be because everything is not under my control or within my limits. So I will ensure that my persona, my person, me as a person does not suffer from any kind of negativity, whether it is guilt, whether it is frustration, whether it is resentment, whether it is anger, any of it. I will not allow it to impact me as a person because other than being a teacher, I am a wife, a mother, or a father, or a parent, and a part of the immediate family, the larger family, the immediate neighborhood, and the community. I have many other roles, and they are equally important. So they play an important role also in my life. I will also focus on them. And the third thing that I would like to mention here is, let me complete the second one. So, controlled emotional involvement enables the teacher to stop at a point where the situation becomes so overbearing or overwhelming that it starts impacting the mental health. So, mental health is something that I have to protect my own. Nobody else will take care. And the third thing is, trying also to inculcate a non-judgmental attitude. If possible, we judge, all of us, by nature. It's human nature to judge self and others. So if we have a non-judgmental attitude, let me tell you, 60 to 65% of the emotional burden is taken care of. And once that is taken care of, we can manage our own mental health very well. I think I would like to end on this note. I hope it was of some use to you.
Thank you, Dr. Prerna Sharma, for taking us through key distinctions that we all need to know before we even, particularly in our work, so that we do not lead ourselves into burnout. So one of the distinctions that she spoke about is to pat our own backs. Why wait for others to pat our backs? Okay? And to also acknowledge my role as a teacher in building the future of the nation. How can I distinguish between overload and a story that I tell myself that this is not okay, that is not okay, and so on and so forth? And how can I put in place steps to ask for help, to kind of, or negotiate deadlines when I experience overload? How can I discern rather than judge and be harsh on myself? When I discern, I'm able to see reality as it is. I'm able to take decisions based on facts and not based on feelings alone. So this also tells us that mental health is the alignment of who I am, how I think, what I do, and what I feel. So when I align myself this way, then I'm better able to handle the stress that's thrown at us, the stressful situations that I encounter in everyday life. I'm also able to not only make my life richer, but in the process, make the lives of the people that I encounter, particularly young children, better. So we have a huge responsibility in the way we're going to deal with ourselves and therefore others. So mental health, when we talk about mental health, it's pretty much like what we are told on flights. Put on your mask first before you help others. So let's take care of our mental health first before we attend to the mental health of others. So here's wishing us a very happy mental health day and with a commitment to further it every day of the week and every day of the year. Thank you very much. We're now ready for lunch. Okay, we can open up this for questions. Anyone would like to ask us questions? The panelists, I mean, questions or comments or feedback?